Welcome back to First Time in the Ring. If you're new here, this podcast is all about helping first-time exhibitors learn from people who've already been where you are. Today, I'm talking with Jack Jordan from Indiana. He grew up showing shorthorn cattle. We talk about the mistakes beginners make, how to choose your first calf, building trust with your animal, and why comparing yourself to everyone else is one of the biggest things that can hold you back. If you're getting ready for your first show, I think you're really going to enjoy this one.
I'm Jack Jordan. I'm from northwestern Indiana, a small town called Rensselaer. I grew up showing shorthorn cattle. I'm on the National Junior Shorthorn Board of Directors. I've shown shorthorns almost my entire life. I started when I was in third grade. Family raises shorthorns. I come from a long line of shorthorn producers from Indiana. I've shown several cattle, but shorthorns have a special place in my heart.
So when you first started showing, how old were you?
I would have been third grade.
Okay. What were some of the biggest mistakes you made as a beginner?
I think I got a little too concerned with what everyone else was doing. I need to make sure I'm doing everything I can to be successful before I worry about so-and-so doing better.
Okay. And then what's something that you wish somebody would have taught you earlier?
Stay in your lane. Focus on what you're doing.
What do you mean by that?
Does it really matter what your neighbor's doing in their barn or the nice new piece of equipment that your friend has that you know, when you can do everything you can to be successful at your place?
Whenever you started doing that and paying a lot more attention to your own projects, what was the biggest improvements you saw?
Other than the immediate peace of mind, I noticed that I took a lot more pride in my projects. I would have more fun. I was more successful because I understood my livestock at a deeper level, but immediately I felt more confident in the show ring.
When you say you understood your livestock at a deeper level, what do you mean by that?
Each animal has their own quirks on how they behave, how they act, or how they look, how you need to present them. So when you know they have this issue that I need to cover, or they have this strength that I want to show off, it makes you a more capable showman to show that.
When you're first picking out your animal, say you've never really looked at calves before, what would you do to pick a good animal that you hope to win with? What do you look for?
I think before you start picking out your stock, you need to make sure that you have a supportive group with you, maybe an experienced older individual, whether they're a mentor or just a kid who you know is successful, or some parents or something. You need to have someone who knows more than you in your corner with you, who isn't just the person you're buying from. That being said, being in touch with the breeder and being on the same page is always a great idea.
So moving on to being a showman, what does a great showman look like to you?
To me, a great showman also is capable of caring for and maintaining that calf through the off season. They're capable of presenting that calf more so than just setting it up. They understand their animal and they demonstrate a knowledge about it.
Okay, what are some of the mistakes young exhibitors making?
Like immediate mistakes, sometimes like younger exhibitors may not necessarily pay attention to what they're doing. They're there to have fun, and that's great. But really, like, the thing that I want to drive home is you chose to do this. Like, it's going to be hard. You know it's going to be hard. So let the fun times be fun. But when it's time to buckle down and for it to suck, you're going to be tired sometimes. Just be ready for that.
Yeah, I just tell my little sister all the time that I'm like, you chose to be here and we paid lots of money for this. This isn't something cheap to be doing.
Yeah, like, you just got to be ready. Like, I don't want to be a guy who embrace the suck, but there are times when you have to work hard and buckle down to get what you want. And sometimes, like, you have that buddy who's, man, I'm so tired, but I got to keep going. Be like that guy.
What are some of the first things that you do when you get a steer or heifer?
I don't necessarily like to jump straight into it. I like to work in several increments of, okay, I got him in the barn now. Okay, let him get used to that. Okay, now I'm going to be in the pen with him a lot now. Let him get used to me. Okay, I'm going to scratch him. I'm going to touch you. I'm going to be close to you. Get used to that. Baby steps. If you make a small mistake on a baby step, it is not the same as making a mistake on a big step. If you get your calf home fresh off the trailer, it's not broke yet, you slap a halter on it, you feed it, and you drag it up to the wash rack, it's going to hate you. And it's going to be like that for a long time. But if you feed it for a couple days and it calms down, and then you put a halter on it and maybe blow it a little bit and just get it used to being around you and the noises and the flapping banners on the wall or whatever's flying around in the air, it wants to be your friend. Just let it be your friend and go slow.
You just talked about blowing out your calf. What does that mean?
Literally blowing air on them.
Why would you do that?
It has a lot of effects, but mainly to train the hair and dry them off after you wash them.
Why are we training hair?
To make our livestock look bigger and stouter, as well as you find a fitter who can fix some of their issues structurally and make them look better for showtime by adding hair.
Oh, how do you train hair?
So each animal needs it differently. You have different cowlicks and hair types, but generally the way to train hair is through a variety of tools: combs, brushes, scrub brushes, roto brushes, different types of combs, blow blowers are great, especially when it gets colder out, wetting them down, keeping them clean. But really, the process for me would look like 1 to 2 days a week. I'll wash them with shampoo. I try to avoid some of those harder soaps like Dawn or dish soap, but I'll shampoo them 1 to 2 a week, and I'll try to condition them 2 to 3 times a week to keep that hair nice and clean and fresh. And immediately after they come off, I'm trying to rinse twice a day on top of my washes. But after the wash rack, I'll take them in to a barn. I'll have fans on them to keep them cool. And then I'll brush all their hair forward. And once I get it all laying forward and get it used to growing forward, I'll start brushing it upwards towards the head at about a 45-degree angle to teach the hair to lift a little bit. And then I'll take my blower and I'll blow it in the same direction to dry the hair and continue to coax it along in that forward and upward direction. And that'll get all your hair laid in the same way, but it'll also teach it to fluff out better so you can mess with it a little better.
And then have you ever had a show day go completely wrong?
I've had plenty of show days go really good and plenty go really wrong. There are some that stick out, but yeah, there's been some that go pretty bad.
How did you come back from those really bad shows?
Sometimes you just gotta let it happen. You can't do everything right every time. You can't control everything. Realizing that if it's in your hands, it's in your hands. Either way, don't change your plan. You need to be able to bounce back and make adjustments to the plan, whether it's the show got moved up 30 minutes, now you have to get your calf ready sooner, or we got started an hour late and you're already up and now you're concerned about them getting tired. You'll have some of that, and some days they just don't look right. They didn't eat right, they weren't drinking, they don't enjoy the show, they don't want to be there. If there's something you can do that would be helpful, great. If there's nothing you can, don't worry about it.
What is the biggest lesson you learned from losing?
A long time ago, my dad told me to win humbly and lose graciously. Losing is, everyone says it's a really great teacher, one of the best teachers. And I would agree. When you lose, you pick something up. I did this wrong. I can do this better, or this thing happened and this is how I can overcome that next time. There's a lot of lessons to be learned when you lose. You just have to learn where to see them.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned from winning?
When you win, the first thing that comes to mind, one of the biggest lessons I learned from winning was not everyone wants to hear that you won. Win, move on. Go find the next thing. The best thing you can do when you win is take the compliment, shake the hand, move on. Figure out what you can do better next time. There's always something to learn, but congratulate second place and third place because they're right there with you. You know what I mean?
Is there anything else that you want to talk about that hasn't been mentioned?
Consistency is king. If you miss a day, that's fine. If you miss a week, that's bad. Do what you can to keep things the same every time. Livestock like consistency in general. They like repetition. Feed at the same time every morning and evening. Choose if you want to wash or rinse before or after you feed, how many times a day you want to do it, how many times a week you want to. Try to keep things in a routine, and that is the best way to expedite success. Whether it's you're always working at these times, or you're always doing this in the barn at this time, or even if it's just the way that you're working hair. If you're always starting on a leg and that's how you know you're always going to get that spot clean and dry and just right, do that. Make sure you are consistent everywhere on the animal as well as everywhere in the barn.
And then looking back at everything that you've done, what mattered more, the banners or the relationships you built?
When I was younger, I would have told you, man, I really like those buckles and those banners and they were so freaking cool and all the big kids have them and I want them so bad. But over the years, that idea kind of melted away. And now that I'm on the national board through Shorthorn, I spent a lot of time helping the juniors and coaxing them along. And I can say my favorite part of any show right now is when the little girl from Arkansas comes up and she's, this is my first contest. I've never done one before. I am really excited. How do I do it? Or the boy from Oklahoma who's never left the state for a show before. You know what? I do want to do the team fitting contest and I need help finding a team. And I don't know what the rules are. Or there was a little boy from Minnesota who came up this year and he asked about team salesmanship, about the prompt. And just being able to help him is all I need. That makes my day every morning.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode with Jack. I think one of the biggest things that I took away is how important it is to stay in your own lane. It's really easy to look around the barn and compare yourself to everyone else. But at the end of the day, the only thing you control is the work that you put in. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss the next one. And if you know someone who's just getting started with livestock, send this episode to them. It might really help. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one.